Hello, hello, hello. It's Keita Williams, founder and chief strategist of Success Bully. Success Bully is an elite accountability practice, so that makes me your personal professional butt kicker. We have a very special guest on our live show. Chauncey Beaty is going to be joining us. So we are going to need about 5 minutes of tech support time. So we cannot wait to see you back here at 3 p.m. on the dot. So grab your notebook, grab yourself a cup of coffee or a cocktail, whatever, depending on what time zone you're in, and come on back here because we're going to be talking about self-love, forgiveness, building your empire, all of that. You don't want to miss it. All right, we'll see you back in a little bit. Hello, hello, hello. It's Keita Williams, founder and chief strategist of Success Bully. Success Bully is an elite accountability practice, so that makes me your personal professional butt kicker. Thank you for joining us for our live show. This is the 5 Days of Focus Live, and we are so excited to be here with you today. We have a lot of cool stuff going on in this community. We are dedicated to supporting our side hustlers and entrepreneurs who are looking to build their empires. And I want to declare 2021 your year. If you've been thinking about how you want to escape your corporate job and really step fully into your business, this is the year to do it. There are so many opportunities out there, and this community is here to support you through that process. So we cannot wait to serve you at the highest level. This month, our theme has been around the idea of loving yourself and loving your business. And so our guests on the live show all align to that philosophy of when you are growing, when you are stretching and growing your business, when you're stretching and growing and stepping out of your comfort zone, when you're stepping into the places of leadership, when you're going places you haven't gone before, it is so important that you are taking the best care of yourself, that you are forgiving yourself when you misstep, when you have a challenge, you're getting back up and you're moving forward. But most importantly, that you're loving up on yourself, right? It's really easy as an entrepreneur to beat yourself up when things don't go according to plans, or when you're a side hustler, when you've worked a full day and then you come home and you're too tired to get it over the line. It's really easy to start down a spiral of beating yourself up. So I'm excited to have our very special guest today. Before we go there, I do want to flag a few exciting things for you. We have prizes and surprises. We have prizes and surprises. We have an amazing giveaway coming up. We just wrapped up one. So there's going to be a lot of giving going on from us here at Success Bully. So keep an eye out for our upcoming giveaway. I can't even tell you what it is. It's surprises and prizes. So get ready for all of that. We have an upcoming challenge. And so our 5 Days of Focus challenge for our aspiring corporate escape artists, we have another challenge happening on March 15th, the Ides of March. And so you want to make sure that you grab your spot in that. We're going to be coaching you around getting really clear about the walkaway numbers, mapping out a plan. What does that look like for you to submit that letter of resignation? So you want to sign up for that at successbully.com/challenge. You have wonderful concierges who are here to support you in your efforts. So whatever you need, if you need a strategy session with us, if you need to get registered for the upcoming challenge, if you need support in just getting unstuck in your business, please reach out to your concierge, your personal concierge. If they're Monica, I forgot it again. Monica and Cece, say hello to everyone. I keep forgetting the distribution. So Cece is one of our concierges, and Monica is one of our concierges. They will tag in the comments who they are working closest with. So make sure you reach out there. So we are so excited. I had to wear like leopard print for today. It was leopard print or sequins, because it's a big moment because Chauncey is one of my favorite people, and I'm going to do my best reading her bio and making this transition to not run my mascara, okay? Because I love me some Chauncey. I'm going to do my best to not get emotional. Okay, are you ready? I'd like to welcome our lovely guest, Chauncey Beaty, to the show. Chauncey is known for her ability to do transformational heart work. And if there is someone that does a phenomenal job of creating a safe space for both individuals and organizations so that you can speak your deepest truth, so that you can feel heard and you can create that possibility for a new future, that is Chauncey. That is her specialty. That is her we talk about time, treasure, and talent. That's all of that for Chauncey, right? She has nearly 20 years in the field of personal transformation and organizational development. She's an award-winning poet, right? Award-winning poet. She's a TEDx speaker. She's a business strategist for talented entrepreneurs, certified life coach, and a master facilitator. So y'all get ready for some major mic drops. I'm just throwing that out there. I hope you have your notebooks in front of you. I hope you got notebooks, and I hope you got like a new pen, because you don't want that old pen that you're going to run out of ink in the middle of this, because Chauncey's about to mic drop. She is also the founder of the a seventh annual Ready Woman Retreat and the Daughtering Project. This project really spoke to me. It's a social movement that promotes healthy relationships between mothers and daughters. And I think that the work that she's doing there is absolutely phenomenal. She's been a keynote speaker and trainer at numerous platforms, college campuses, conferences, nationally and abroad. She's been hired by small businesses, nonprofits, and Fortune 500 companies like Coca-Cola to train on leadership, vision, and mission statement development, team building, productivity, and organizational culture. So if you've got any business related questions, Chauncey is your go-to. And she earned a Bachelor of Arts from Winthrop University in psychology and a Master of Arts in humanities from the Ohio State. We can't just say Ohio State. We have to say the Ohio State. And she also has her certification as a life coach from the Life Purpose Institute in San Diego. She's a member of Delta Sigma Theta sorority and a native of Greenville, South Carolina. Without further ado, I have to welcome the Wonderkin. Oh, Jolene's on the line. We got to wave at Jolene. We got to say hello to Jolene. Welcome, Chauncey. Hold on, let me get technology together. Chauncey!
Hi, how are you?
I am living my absolute best life. You know, I got 3 shades of blush on, so I really feel like I'm doing something today.
It's such a pleasure to be here. I've been waiting for this moment, so thank you so much.
My heart is so full right now, so thank you for being here. So, like, I know that you have a dynamic background, so I'd love to hear a little more about your journey as you've kind of, stretched and grown as an entrepreneur. Tell us more about your personal journey.
Sure. Before I start, I just want to make a quick correction. I see in your runner you have my social media handle as I Heart Worker, and I don't know whose social media that is, but I don't want you to see. I don't want folks to go to the wrong place. So all of my social media handle is I Work Hard. So I Work Hard. Yep. All right. So a little bit about my entrepreneurial journey. I really stumbled into entrepreneurship. So I went to college thinking that I was going to be a guidance counselor initially. So very young, I started to see some social inequalities, specifically like when I was in high school, I started to see, hey, some people are graduating, some people aren't. I'm noticing a lot of people who are not graduating and who are not doing well are Black and brown kids. What is going on? And so that led me into thinking at the time, hey, I'll be a guidance counselor so I can help students matriculate. I went to college and then got a degree in psychology. And then the more I started to study kind of social issues, social justice issues, I was like, oh, this is bigger. It's a whole system of white supremacy. What is all of this madness that's going on? So that took me to Ohio State, where I ultimately earned a degree in African American studies. When I got to graduate school, I thought I'll be a professor. And when I was in the academy, I was like, I do not like it here. This is not the space for me. And I remember thinking, I want to be someone who is the person that people read about in the books. I don't just want to sit around and read about people and contribute to a discourse. And so I finished up my master's degree. At that time, I was performing poetry. And I had ranked in a couple of international poetry slams. If anybody is familiar with poetry slam, it's basically like MC battling, but with poets. And at the time, I was ranked the 3rd best female slam poet in the world. And so I have a lot of friends who are full-time performers, and they was like, you should do this full-time. So I packed up my little truck full of books and clothes, and I moved from Ohio to Atlanta. And this is in 2008 when the economy was a mess.
Playing games.
So so I graduate with a degree in African American Studies, not able to really communicate my transferable skills. I moved to this new city, and I'm like, I cannot find work in the midst of the economy.
Economic downturn.
Yes. So, my friends was like, you should pursue, poetry. So I end up pursuing work as a full-time artist for about 4 years. And it was an amazing experience in some regards. It was super, it pushed me in a lot of regards because I was not one of those people who, there are some artists that they are an artist. They are born to produce art. You used to have to drag me to the stage. So I had a high talent for it. I had a high skill set, but literally until I got to the stage, I was like, no. And then I would get on stage and my Sasha Fierce would come out,
Okay. So, reluctant performer. I get it.
Yes, all the way. But what it did, it opened a lot of doors for me. I ended up doing some television work, traveling abroad. I taught in China. I got to travel most of the United States. And it was a really fantastic experience. I got to partner with this campaign called Greater Than, which was an HIV and AIDS awareness campaign. Mm-hmm. And so I would go around the country and I would speak primarily to students about like how to prevent HIV. And so I did a lot of like print ad media with them and was on billboard buses all across the country. And that was super cool. And I discovered that I was way more interested in what was happening to artists as they were pursuing their calling. I was way more interested in the blocks that was coming up for people.
Okay.
As they were saying yes to themselves. And
so would you say, so dig a little deeper there for me. So are you saying like the business side of being an artist?
So both. So It wasn't just about being an artist, but it was about a person actually attempting to fulfill their potential.
Okay. What
happens as a person says yes to the calling of their hearts? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I was watching as I have this saying that a few friends of mine say is mean, but I promise it's not in mean spirit. But I'll say all the time, the mediocre people are winning. And what I mean by that is that usually people who have who are very good at something, they have a high craft, a high calling. They also have like large gaps that they have to close in terms of their personal development to put themselves into the world. They tend to care about their work much more than the other person who may be more advanced in their marketing and sales. And so then they get the job, right? Compared to the person who is so careful. They're so careful in everything that they do that it's hard for them to put themselves out. And so ultimately that ended up turning into me creating retreats and coaching and consulting. And it led to what I do now.
I love it. So, I think I say something very similar to that. The stupid people are out here winning because they know how to do one thing and they just do it. Right. But if you are like brilliant, this is a double-edged sword of being brilliant. We're going to talk about that later. But like overthinking and being super critical of yourself and not even over planning. And so not getting into action. So then let's talk about, I love the term heart work. So how do you define that? And then how do you support your clients in doing the work?
So for me, hard work is many things. And I ended up getting the term, the hard worker, probably in 2009. The moniker, the hard worker, in 2009, actually as a poet, not even as a transformational worker yet. This guy came up to me in the audience and he was like, your poetry does hard work and heart work. My heart is changed as I listen to you. And so I started to hear this hard work. And so I started to play with it. And but for me, I feel like what my gifting is that I can hear deeply. So I usually can hear what somebody is saying, not saying what they're attempting to say. I can usually help somebody articulate the core, the heart of what they are attempting to say or do. And so that is one piece of hard work for me, like listening deeply to someone. Another piece of hard work for me, though, is for someone to actually listen to themselves, right? And also to clear out their heart. I believe, so this work is also spiritual based for me. It's faith based for me. And I believe that the heart is kind of this energetic center for us. And if we are hoarding energy that comes up in our work, in the world, it comes up. There's no way for us to avoid it. We are going to filter through that heart. And so basically sometimes in order for us to fully fulfill our potential, not sometimes, all the time, in order for us to fully fulfill our potential, we have to clean that up, and we have to clear out the things that we are hoarding in our heart, old stories, sloppy, poor, limiting beliefs, trauma.
Sloppy and poor limiting beliefs. I've never heard them called that. I've just heard limiting beliefs, but now they sloppy and poor.
Sometimes we have sloppy thinking. We have sloppy talking. We have lazy talking, meaning there's a lack of mindfulness and intention. And ultimately, it's self-destructive talking. It's harmful to you, and then it's also out of alignment with what God has said about you. And so oftentimes, really, to me, the core of what I'm doing is getting people to actually believe in what has been said by God about you. Now, we understand that people have different faith traditions.
Right.
I personally come out of a Christian tradition, but I do want to put in the caveat that I also spent many years as a non-believer. And I say that to say I do not approach things in a typical way where I understand that Christianity also has functioned in this world in a way that has been tremendously oppressive to people. So I just want to say that.
Okay. Well, like when we think about that, it all starts with the thought, and then what you say that shows up in your execution. Like if you think that you are a failure, you're right. If you think that you can build a multi-million-dollar empire, you're right. If you think that you're going to be poor the rest of your life, you're right. You're right. And so I think that even I have to watch the sloppy talking where like, I'll say something flippant that it's not how I feel about myself, right? Like, my dumb ass did this again. Well, those little slips, that adds up, and you're starting to put that out in the world. So then, like, when you think about this heart work, who do you really truly enjoy working with, and why? Like, who is heart work for?
So I want to back up just a second on what you just said. You said, I don't feel this way when I say those things. So I would argue that those things that we say do lead to our feelings, right? So it's not just that the thoughts that's having an impact on us, on what we can create or what we miscreate or what we do not create. But I would even argue more so that it's the feelings, the heart, not just the mind. It's the heart that is that plays a role in what we're able to allow in to this human experience. So you were asking, who do I like to work with?
Yes, and why?
So so it's funny. I'm teaching right now, and in addition to coaching and consulting, I'm teaching African American studies, and I find myself sometimes frustrated because I have known for a long time I like to work with what I call ready women, right? Which is why my retreat is called the Ready Women Retreat. Is a part of it. Now, of course, my students are both men and male and female, or woman and man, rather, boy and girl, because they're also children. And I also have worked with male clients, even though my market tends to be primarily women. I like to work with people. I always look at myself as like the second baton. Like I'm not a motivational speaker. I don't want to persuade you. You got to go to somebody else. I'm not. I don't want to persuade you. I don't want to keep like. I'm the person that after like the light bulb has went off, then you're like, okay, I'm ready to work. So,
well, I tell folks, I'm not a life coach. If you need to do some self-discovery work, I'm not the coach for you. When you know what you want, I can help you get that done.
Right. So I like to think of myself as like the second leg in the baton. Like somebody else has to come in and motivate you. It's not me. I'm not like, I tell my students all the time, like, baby, Miss Beaty ain't the one. You need. I'm not gonna keep persuading you, right? Like, because I affirm people. I feel like a part of what I'm doing is dismantling these old beliefs. I get that, but the person has to want it. That we can't do the work if the person is not.
Right.
They have to already be invested.
Oh yeah, I do think that coaching is only as good as the action that is taken. So
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So then what is your big vision for 2021? So how are
Yeah.
you expanding Heart Work to a larger platform?
Yeah. So I'm in this really interesting season of my life. And Keita, you've been involved in that journey. You have our paths crossed in the middle of this. And so give thanks. I'm so grateful that you've
Oh,
been one of the people that has shown up in the midst of this. So I need to add to my bio. I am now a mom. And so I like to think of myself as a mother who is in the midst of raising a free Black woman, right? But she's only 3 now, but she still is one day, praise the Lord, she'll be a free Black woman, right? And so I became a new mom, and oh my goodness, there were so many learning curves around that. Specifically as a business owner, when I became pregnant, I was very sick during my pregnancy. I had hyperemesis, which is basically like severe all day sickness. I don't know why they call it morning sickness. All day long.
It was all day, all day.
Yeah, all day long sickness. Like it was a mess. And so, and ultimately it caused me to have a couple of surgeries after I had my daughter, because my abdomen wall split because I was vomiting so much.
Oh my.
So so it was like, child, honey, listen, you
Like
tore
some
up my stomach.
lessons and some
Listen. So, anyways, I bring up all of that to say I learned so much about my business. I realized that I had designed this business. I've been in business since 2009. That essentially was a poor design. It was poorly, the infrastructure wasn't there. The design was not there. It was too dependent on me. And then when I couldn't show up, my money flow stopped. And so it made me like pause. I stopped everything so that I can look at what needs to be designed differently. And then also, as I know a lot of entrepreneurs do this, and I did this for a long time, I was notorious for building a plane and trying to fly the plane at the same time.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I'm like, come on, get on the plane. I know it's no seats right here. I know it's no seats.
I know I ain't got no seatbelt for you, but
no peanuts or Biscoff cookies. Just come on, I got it.
Get on the plane.
And so, I'm just interested in all of that now. Like I am about like what needs to be automated, where the systems, how can I build this once and then it creates flow. And so if I had to answer your question about my goals for 2021, it would be to like finish building my plane. So I've been in the background, like building a plane. Now, we do know that sometimes people can get into paralysis trying to go into perfectionism or continue to delay contributing because they're trying to, but for me, I'm like, listen, I need to, especially like the delivery of things. There are certain things that like I can't do this stressed out now, and I got a little one,
Right. The game has literally changed.
yes. And so, like back to the question, for me, the goal would be to build. And then I've always had like a vision in my head, like I want to have a massive impact. And it's not about like the glorification of me. I believe that I have a calling in this world, right? I want to, this goes back to the question of hard work too. For me, hard work is helping folks to contribute in the way that they're supposed to contribute in the world. When we are blocked up, when we have all this junk in our heart that's keeping us from knowing who we are, trusting ourselves to to give our gifts to the world suffers, right? So I feel like my role is to help those people. Like, let me shine up your heart right quick so you can go out there, So I'm really interested in, helping a massive amount of people. And so I get to get out of my own way, right? Because that's where I had to, go on and do some buffering to myself. I get to get out of my own way and I get to show up.
And I think that this is like what you just said. A lot of our side hustlers and entrepreneurs needed to hear that, like the idea of burning oneself out or doing things without systems, without structure. You're working. I think when we get started, you are the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker. You're the sanitation. You're the consultant. You're the delivery. You're the marketing. You're all the things. But like to truly scale, you have to have systems and structure. And I do think there's something to be said that if it is hard, we're probably doing it wrong.
Correct.
You
not
know?
only that, like if you're doing it by yourself, your dream is too small. Your vision is too small. Like dreams are not made to be managed, or I shouldn't say managed, that's not a great word, but to be executed, let's say that, by just one person. They're just not.
I do think that if it doesn't give you a sweat mustache, it's not big enough. It's not big enough. If you can casually do it by yourself, you are putting guardrails around it to keep it small intentionally. And I even think in like my own space that when I took those guardrails off, we're like, oh, this is a thing, and it can be a very big thing. I can have a global impact, but I cannot do that alone.
Right.
I cannot do that alone. It cannot be accomplished alone. So then how are you, so like now putting that structure and systems in place, how are you doing that daily? How does that fold into like your full-time job plus kind of how are you balancing those two?
So the first thing that I had to do was get clear on my priority. So I have really strong opinions about this, by the way. So most people are still operating off of the Industrial Revolution kind of model of workday. So in America is a company. That's interesting that I use it. That's a slip, but it's accurate. So America in its founding really was founded specifically. It was almost like a franchise of another country, right? We live in a colonial space, right? And so we are socialized to be laborers. We're socialized to make money for somebody else. And so we design our day around that way. We give our best energy, we give our intellectual genius to somebody else's system, and then we go back into our families, we go back to our God, we go back to ourselves, and we give the least of ourselves to those entities. And so the first thing that I had to do was get super duper clear, like, what is my priority and who gets the best of me?
Ooh.
Who gets the best of me? And so literally I decide, like, I get clear on, so for me, it's God, then myself, then my family, then my business. And this is going to sound terrible, and I would hate for somebody that is
like just tuning in.
Yeah, if somebody was on my job, if they heard this, they would say that, like, oh, your job is 4/5 down on the line. Yeah.
Accurate.
Now I know you guys have certain hours that you get from me, but my best energy goes to these things. Now, this doesn't mean that they don't get adequate work. This doesn't mean that I don't show up. I am fully present. That's another thing that I would say. Like, once you get clear and you decide where your time energy is, you need to be 100% present to that thing. There's a book that I suggest folks read. I think it's called The One Thing. Because especially as women, we're taught to multitask. Multitasking is celebrated. But there's tons of research that shows that you're getting nothing done, and you just have 100 open projects, right? So like, literally I have all of my time mapped out. I know from every hour, every minute of the day where I should be giving my time. Now, I don't always miss that mark. I don't always hit that mark, excuse me. I don't always hit the mark, right? There might be some days that I intentionally choose to alter that, but I'm clear, number one, that I have gone outside of my standard. I need to restore integrity if I've gone outside of my standard. I'm clear when I'm mismanaging my time, when I'm using my time wisely. And then also it allows me to track my time, which I know you are big on, right? Tracking. And so literally every single day, I can tell you what is the optimum way that I should be living for every minute of the day to hit like the things that are important to me and to hit my goals.
Yeah, I think this is an amazing conversation for our side hustlers, because I do think that some of the emotional trauma and burden of your corporate job is that you're giving too much of yourself there and not prioritizing your time and your emotional bandwidth to the things that really matter in your life. I just had a conversation with my sister where she was really upset about something that was going on at work. And I was like, you get paid on the 15th, right? Like, why are you so upset about that? Like, you're choosing to give your energy there. So like, let's talk a little bit more about that idea of prioritizing for our side hustlers in this group. Like, when you have such a finite amount of time to work on your passion outside of work, how do you kind of keep it in balance when you are talking about like at 30 minutes to 2 hours a day that you can do something?
Well, first of all, like, you get to design your day. I don't care if you have a certain amount of hours that you have agreed to with another party. You still are designing your day.
Oh, tell them, Chauncey.
People probably don't want to hear this. I wake up at 4:30 in the morning. In an ideal situation, do I want to wake up at 4:30 in the morning? I mean, technically, I kind of enjoy waking up at that time. But I choose to wake up at that time because that gives me the amount of time that I need to do my personal and spiritual development work. I prep for my classes. It allows me to spend a little bit of time before I take my daughter to daycare. I take her to daycare at 6:30 a.m. That's very early. When the daycare open, she's the first one to get the door open. She is there, right?
They're like, hello, Chauncey.
Right. It allows me to have time to groom, to adorn myself where I'm not rushed to start my day. So most of the time I have accomplished kind of the task-oriented stuff before everybody even wakes up.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
I also take a nap during the middle of the day.
Get into it.
I have a carved out time that's a nap in the middle of the day. Why? Because when I go pick up my daughter, I want her to have good energy again.
I love it. I love it. Designing your day.
Of my day in the middle of the day. We're taught that that's lazy or you're not supposed to nap during the day. You know, but I design my day. I already know I've already given my time correctly. So now it's time for me to rest and to rejuvenate my energy.
Yes, there is. Are you following the nap ministry?
I haven't been, but
they're based out of you are already a member, but like it is they have a whole platform around rest is resistance, and that like nap, go ahead, nap, get some rest. But I also think that this is like I believe like not only do you design your day, you design your week, you design your month, you design your year, you design your life, right? Correct. And like these are choices we can make these choices, right? And like yes, you could work full time, yes, but you are still designing your day. You're designing where that energy goes and where things flow. So I love thank you for that mic drop, because I yell it on the internet. So
there's another thing that I want to add to that. I think that it's important as we work inside of other people's dreams and give thanks. That's a blessing to really be inside of other people's dreams, right? So sometimes we look at those traditional jobs, or if we are not full-time in our business, we look at it as a negative thing, like, oh, I'm still working. Give thanks because somebody your dreams, right? In order for your dreams to be in full manifestation, you don't want somebody that's begrudgingly working in your dreams. You don't need to be begrudgingly working in somebody else's dream, right? So, but we get to decide, what are we in that space? Are we I like to think about it in terms of like body parts. This may sound a little weird, but am I a brain? Am I a heart? Heart means that I am bought in. I'm inside of their mission, right? I'm bought in fully. I'm vested, right? Are we hands? Are we just helping to execute something? Are they fueling our dream, right? What are we doing?
Are they financing our dream?
Right. What are we doing there, right? So then you are all invested and you're tied up to this, but this is something that, really now I don't want to say it this way because it can sound mean, but they can release you at any moment because they ain't invested in you and you ain't really invested in them. But you are energetically, you have all of this. You're too tied in when you need to be clear that I go here, I do this, and I contribute as hands to their vision, right? Give thanks, and I do that gratefully, and then they finance my dreams.
There you go. There you go. And I think and that is something, as someone who has side hustled and transitioned out, that like, I do think that once my side hustle really started to blossom, that like it changed my perspective on work. That like, oh, I am here so that I can continue to pursue this dream. Like I am here. I did not personalize the shenanigans that went on at work, and the shenanigans that I mean, where it was like, no. I am literally here to execute this so that I can afford to build that.
Yeah.
Right. And there's no shame in it. And I do like that piece around the gratitude that, like, especially in a space where I think that some of you can learn on the company dime, if that makes sense.
Right.
You can make mistakes within your corporate career that would cripple your business if you did that. That like you can learn in a safe space rather than like, I think what's really interesting when I look at my practice, the things that I hid from in corporate, where I was always trying to hide behind a desk, I had to come from around the desk and execute in my business. There was no more hiding. There was no more hiding behind like, oh, I'll just be behind the scenes. No, I got to be the scene. Right. And so, but I think that prep work of corporate prepared me for this. So like nothing is wasted. Nothing is wasted. Oh my God. Oh, all the things. I could talk about. Oh, all the things. Heartful. Oh yes, design your day. You got me all aflutter. So then like in the sense of like this heart work, I know you said that you're like the second baton, but when do you typically recommend that people seek out coaching?
I'm a believer in coaching. I'm a believer in therapy. I'm a believer in intentional community is what I call it, period. Right. So I think that, I cannot remember where I picked this philosophy up. And I like to give people their credit. So I forget the brother's name. There's this philosophy that this guy calls plus minus equal. Are you familiar with it?
Oh no, drop it on me, Chauncey. Drop it on me.
So at all times you need to have a plus, minus, and an equal in your life. A plus is a person who is in a higher position. They're a mentor. There's somebody you can learn from. A minus is somebody that you're mentoring, right? And so there's somebody that you're teaching and pouring into you, and your equal are your peers, are your community around you, who you are, y'all are on equal standing, and you guys are still kind of peer mentoring each other and sharing with each other. So first of all, I think that you should always have that in terms of your intentional community. Then with coaching, I think that you need to get clear on what do I actually need? Do I need an advisor? Do I need a consultant? Do I need a coach? These people actually are very different things. They actually function in a very different way. And sometimes I think, or therapists, I didn't add in a therapist. And sometimes I think that people will join a program or sign up for a coach and they're actually not ready for that yet, right? So like, let's say if somebody comes to Success Bully and you really are like, when they come to you, it's go time, right? It's go time. But if they're still struggling with their internal stuff, and they're still afraid to move, they might not get the results, even though they're resource rich, even though they have the best person in the world to cultivate the experience that they are attempting to get. But they may have hired the wrong type of person that they needed at the time. So it's really important that you get clear on what you need. And then who is the right person that I need to help me to get to that goal. But I think that at all times, I pretty much for probably the last like 15 years, I probably have at all time had some kind of coach in my life. At all times. There's usually always, and for sure, there's always a mentor.
Yeah, definitely.
But I probably am paying a coach at all time for probably the last 15 years.
I definitely feel like when, I too am coached. I would like to say I'm overcoached at this point. But like when I really started seeing those leaps and bounds, it was when I invested in coaching, when I started seeing when I 8x'd as opposed to like, little small bumps. It was because I was working with a coach, that I had someone that who had already been where I wanted to go and was facilitating and helping me skip the line. That was helping me go, okay, yeah, you could stay stuck and try to figure this out. That could take you months to figure it out on your own. Or here you go, do this. Try this.
Right.
Have you considered this?
Right.
And so like, I definitely feel that like, when it comes to coaching, you definitely have to feel that it's a self-worth conversation, right? That do I value my dreams and myself enough to invest this way, right? And I think that's something that I see kind of come up quite a bit, is like this, well, I don't know, there's all this hesitation with it, when it's like, no, this has nothing to do with me as a coach. This has more to do with how you feel about yourself.
Which is interesting to me, because I feel like that goes back into the design of the space that we live in, right? Where it is normalized for us to be prepared to pay a third of our income to our living space, to pay another percentage of our income to our car, to these bills, to these consumer spaces, and then what we think is personal investment is clothes, or these kind of material things. And there's literally like it's a novel, like it's innovative to invest in your personal.
Like, why would I do that?
Yeah, like then somebody has to, and again, here we go with me. I'm not the motivator. I'm not gonna keep persuading you.
I'm the second baton.
Second baton. You already got to know you need to invest. So this is where Chauncey gets frustrated, right? Because I'm like, I already told.
So like, do I have to continue to say this? You're worth it. You are worth it. Invest in yourself.
Think about the madness of that. The madness of that. And we live in a society where it is more normalized for you to spend tens of thousands of dollars on clothes, on shoes, on purses, on
that you might wear one time,
that adds no value, but a delusion that's really a delusion, status change. And then investing in your own growth and development, or your spiritual investing in your own expansion as a human being, having this really fantastic experience, and then now somebody has to persuade. That's madness to me. So anyways, that goes back to this whole piece of like, where there's some work to be done, and how we're socializing this in the society.
Absolutely. So now we're into our lightning round. These are my questions about nothing. Okay.
All right. I'm here.
Here for it. You said mediocre people are out here winning.
Yeah.
And so we talk about the double-edged sword of being brilliant, where like when you are brilliant, that there's a tendency to overthink, or you never run out of ideas. You're so creative. So like, what are some of your tips for narrowing that focus when you are on the gifted and talented side of things?
Literally, you need a management system for it. If you're anything like me, I'm an ideal machine. Like I'm constantly like
visionary.
Like I'm like every day I have to I'm a multi-passionate for like on a 10 scale. Like every day I'm like, Chauncey, focus, bring it in. So like you get to have systems of management, and it doesn't have to be anything that's huge, but like say for instance, I had to make a rule for myself that when something is coming up as I'm working on something, I write it on the side, and I can't go research it right now, because the me, like literally when I'm reading, if I see a word that I don't know, like I'm going to look up the etymology of that word. Like I'm down. Wow. That's how.
Not just the dictionary. I gotta go full etymology.
Yes, the etymology. Like I need to know the origin. Like that's me, right? So I need to which then now this project that was supposed to take 30 minutes, so you have to create create your own rules on how to manage the flow, because essentially this is like, if you are a business, right, this is a great thing. This is like, this is your innovation hub. This is your ideation, so what's your system around like your ideation team that's in your head, right? And so you get to figure out what your management system is, and it might be that you document it every morning. It might be a part of your morning ritual where you are journaling 10 ideas, or you're writing out like what you're thinking about, and so that way you keep a management system of it. And then I recently incorporated like the 12-week year philosophy into my life. Probably it's been maybe about, I think I'm in my third 12 weeks. And so I will decide these are the goals that I'm working on for this 12 weeks. And then so instead of like having all these open projects, I'm super clear on during this 12 week, I am working on this. And so I think that's important as well.
Oh yeah. I do like for the management system, a world domination notebook. Where like mine is bedazzled. Just write it down, get it out of your head, as much detail as possible, close the book, get back to work. So you captured it, so you can go back to it later. And yeah, all the things. Okay. Second to last question. What are you currently reading? Because leaders are readers. So what are you reading?
If you could see my background, I am a huge reader. So I am reading, and this is where is a little bit of a contradiction, because I do think that you should probably read one book at a time, but I tend to be reading multiple books at a time. I just finished reading Stamped, which is a book about anti-racism. I am reading this book called The Four Wheels of God. I am reading a book on called Profit First.
Yes.
Yeah. So I tend to try to read in terms of like spiritual development, personal development, and something for my business. I try my best. I try to get down to like one book a week, because I still have a multitasking mindset when it comes to reading, and I need to do better with that, because I read a lot, and that is where I feel like I still haven't mastered like one book at a time, Chauncey.
I always got like 4 or 5 on the nightstand. Where like what am I picking up? What am I gonna pick up? And not thinking what's on my iPad. It's a whole bunch of stuff going on. So then, in closing, this is a mic drop moment. If there was a single piece of advice, your golden nugget that you would give this community of side hustlers that are scaling businesses, to our boss ladies that are building their empires and creating their own economy, what is that nugget you give them?
I really want you to sit with this experience, right? That we are on a ball in the middle of space that has a massive amount of water and land, and there are all of these microorganisms and all of these ecosystems, all of these things that are at work for you to be here, right? There are all of these things that are at play inside of your body, inside of space, inside of planet Earth, just for you to be here. This life is a gift. And in my opinion, based on spiritual readings, right, it is a gift from God to you. It is a gift. When you think about your business is not just a space, a site for you to make money. It can be, depending on where you are, where your heart is, and what this endeavor is for you. A space to which you contribute to the world, and you can literally change the world. Sometimes I think that we don't believe that on the individual scale that we can have a massive impact, but you can. If you look at it from a scientific standpoint or quantum kind of theory standpoint, it's called the butterfly effect, which this movie has been made about, where like a butterfly flapping of a wing can cause an earthquake. There's real like research around that. So like who you are and how you show up on this planet and who you serve and who you teach, and the problems you solve literally change the world. And so I think that if I could give anything to you, is I want you to like know that deep in your heart that it's not just about like the money that you can get from something, but the ways in which like you could make this earth experience better for the people who are currently here, and then even better for the people who are to come. And it's also in reverence of the people, especially for Black people, especially for people of color, especially for marginalized people, people who have died on your behalf for you to be able to contribute, people who endured abuse on your behalf, right? People who endured and long suffered simply for you to be able to contribute. I would encourage you to like really do some work to have some conviction around that, because it's not just about, you're not just rendering a service. You literally can possibly be changing the world.
Oh, goosebumps, Chauncey. Had to tell I'm covered in goosebumps. Thank you for that. Thank you. Hold the line. I'm going to do the fancy thing where I wrap it up. So hold on for a second. Thank you so much, Chauncey. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So once again, I am Keita Williams, and I am the founder and chief strategist of Successfully. We are an elite accountability practice, so that makes us professional butt kickers. And I want to thank Chauncey Beaty for her support today, for really empowering and inspiring us to really think about the heart work, think of the matters of the heart. If you weren't able to catch the entire interview, it will leave it up. You can also catch it on YouTube. Remember that if you need any support getting unstuck in your business, if you need support on mapping out your strategy, or you are looking for that way to next level your side hustle so you can see that pathway out of corporate, book a call. You can do that at successfully.com/call. You can reach out to your concierge, Monica or Cece. We are here to serve. Friendly reminder that if you haven't already, grab your spot in the upcoming challenge. Our 5 days of focus challenge for our aspiring corporate escape artists is on March 15th, and you can grab your spot at successfully.com/challenge. So once again, I'm Keita Williams, founder and chief strategist of Successfully. Let's get after it. Until next time, y'all.